There was a cemetery here.
Oh, yeah, a long time ago.
What happened to the graves?
They moved them.
So far, most people believe there are ghosts, but do we have evidence of this? If we still need to find evidence to convince ourselves, then what kind of evidence would be appealing to us? People have had experiences of these kind of events and none of them made sense when they are narrated to the listeners. However, not all people have an eye to see the realm of the unseen, but it can be possible for others if they want to pursue it, but it comes with a cost. In this world, we see, we hear, we smell, we touch things and feel them, and then we process them through our brains and find meaning and interpretations. Our interpretations are the ones that help us decide what to do with the information we have received.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Follow me.
Have you ever looked at the sky and saw the clouds forming patterns such as a dog, a cat, a rabbit, or a face of a man or a woman? But question is, can I see what you see as vivid as you? Most probably not. Let me tell you of this story. A truck driver used to work for a company from Monday to Friday every week. And every week when he went home, he would take a lift that takes him from the town of his workplace to his town. So, when he got off the car of his driver, he would walk across a soccer field at about 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. most of the time. Being a smoker, he would light up a cigarette and he would walk about 15 to 20 minutes before he could get home. One day when he knocked off and was walking home approaching the soccer field, he saw a group of people gathered around the soccer field cheering. As he approached the soccer field, he realized that people were actually playing soccer. Knowing that he loved it, he decided to take a moment to watch. When he narrated the story, he said, "As I was watching the match, one of the players got tired and came to me and asked me to relieve him. I refused because I knew I was tired, but he became very persuasive until I decided to take on the challenge. I started to play for a few minutes and I enjoyed it. Before I knew what time it was, my clothes were torn and very messy from the dirt, mud and grass of tackling my imaginary opponents. When I wanted to check the time, I had no watch, but I found it when I was about to walk home. It was 4:30. I immediately rushed home because I would have to explain to my wife what happened to me. Now, is the story of the truck driver convincing? Remember I asked if you ever looked at the sky and saw the clouds forming patterns? Let's go further. Christopher French, who is a psychologist in England at Goldsmiths University of London, says, memory does not work like a video camera, and that a person can only remember things he is paying attention to. And that some people are more likely to become absorbed than others. And those people also report higher levels of paranormal beliefs, he says, including beliefs in ghosts. Even if these claims or studies can be true, but does it eliminate the existence of such experiences to many of us? What is a ghost? According to Wikipedia, a ghost is the soul or spirit of a dead person or non-human animal that is believed to be able to appear to the living. And other terms associated with it are apparition, haunt, phantom, poltergeist, shade, specter, spirit, spook, wraith, demon, and ghoul. If this our definition of a ghost, what do the Holy Scriptures tell us about the dead? Let's see what the Holy Bible says, in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 5. For the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing, and they have no more reward, for the memory of them is forgotten. Hebrews chapter 9 verse 27, and just as it is appointed for man to die once, and after that comes judgment, Isaiah chapter 8 verse 19. And when they say to you, inquire of the mediums and the necromancers who chirp and mutter, should not a people inquire of their God? Should they inquire of the dead on behalf of the living? In the Bible we learn that when people die, they wait for the day of judgment and their book is closed, for they have no rewards in this world. In Christendom, we find that the spirits are called fallen angels, and these fallen angels have dishonored the commands of God, and hence they were casted out of heaven. However, when you go into the Islamic teachings, we find the following in the Holy Quran about dead people. Quran, chapter 3 verse 185. Every self will taste death. You will be paid your wages in full on the day of rising. Anyone who is distanced from the fire and admitted to the garden, has triumphed. The life of this world is only the enjoyment of delusion. Quran, chapter 63 verse 10 to 11. And spend, in the way of Allah, from what we have provided you before death approaches one of you and he says, My Lord, if only you would delay me for a brief term so I would give charity and be among the righteous. But never will Allah delay a soul when its time has come. And Allah is acquainted with what you do. Quran chapter 67 verse 2. It is He who created death and life that He may try you, which of you is best in deeds, and He is the mighty, the forgiving. We also find that from the Islamic perspective that, the Creator created the spirits before Adam, and among the spirits which are referred to as jinns in Arabic was the most pious servant of the Creator who had a rank in heaven called Iblis, or Satan, and he was casted out heaven because he defiled the commands of the Creator. And when he came on earth, he started to have his own servants among the jinns that we call evil spirits or devils. We even find that these spirits are powerful and can shift shape, meaning they have the ability to turn into many things. They can even infiltrate dreams and act like your ancestors to convince people to do certain things for them. Today we have people who claim to have dreamt of their ancestors advising them to do certain things to do with sacrifices, advising them to come to graveyards to worship them or to ask for forgiveness or ask for things from them. How sure are we that we are talking to them? When the Holy Scriptures tell us that the dead have no impact in this world, or that they have no rewards, or that they await Judgment Day. Why would people believe they can do any good or bad to us?
Hello? Hello? Hello?
There is a misguidance somewhere along the line. Like I mentioned before, that spirits can take certain form that suit them based on their interest, to convince people and scare them so that people can worship them, thus removing people from monotheism. As much as our beliefs may vary when it comes to spirits and certain practices based on our cultures and nationalities, we need to be vigilant of the physical effects and spiritual effects in our lives that these deities have. People who see these beings are often referred to as crazy, and people who use or are being used by spirits are called mediums or witches. The similarity here is that both of them work for the same family and that wants to be worshipped by human beings. Some people get afflicted by evil spirits or evil eye and they go to the fortune tellers and mediums to seek refuge, but are not aware that they are still within the same family. Ghosts, as explained by Wikipedia, are souls or spirits of a dead people or non-human animals that are believed to be able to appear to the living. The story of the truck driver above could mean that the playground which he found himself racing behind a virtual soccer ball is a gathering for the spirits, and that he got there at the right time. I would be interested to know about your story, about your experiences. The concept of ghosts is rooted in the ancient belief that a person's spirit can exist independently from the physical body even after death. Many cultures hold the belief that performing specific funeral rituals can prevent these spirits from haunting the living. It is commonly thought that individuals who experience hauntings are somehow connected to or responsible for the ghost's troubled past. Typical signs of haunting involve the visual manifestation of ghostly figures, objects moving without explanation, or the sudden appearance of unusual light. Auditory indicators include laughter and screams that seem to come from nowhere, footsteps, the ringing of bells, and the spontaneous production of sounds from musical instruments. When one is affected with such things, one tends to pray to ask God to fend him or her against such paranormal activities. This normally becomes of natural defensive mechanism. Most of the people these days have become atheists, agnostics, and so on. However, these people are not excluded from the existence of these beings in their lives. The only exclusivity in this regard can be the mode of defense they use when they experience such things. We all grew up knowing that there's hell and there is heaven, and some theologies have a detailed explanation about how hell looks like and how heaven looks like, and some people believe and others do not believe. Whether we believe it or not, we know there is evil and there is goodness, and we see both every single day in our daily lives, in movies and in series. Now, who actually influences evil, and on the contrary, who influences goodness? Certainly, you know the answer to this question. If the scriptures tell us about the fallen angels, jinns, or spirits, and that their abode is hell, then there can only be one thing they are after. That is, to misguide human beings so that they can go to hell with them. Psychologically, it would make no sense to have goodness and show evil, or be evil and draw people to guidance and goodness. Every corporation has a strategy in place that is essential to help it achieve its KPIs and goals, and if this blueprint works, then it can rinse and repeat to increase its revenue. Similarly, in a family setup, every household has rules and regulations that every family member needs to adhere to, for a functional family. How do these spirits deceive us? They use their powers to influence our emotions and thoughts to commit immoral activities, such as hating, being angry, being jealous, fighting, dressing inappropriate, raping, and being corrupt. If they fail, which most of the time do not leave without any one of their wishes is fulfilled, they cause corruption in places of worship and make people greedy, allow other types of immorality in places of worship. Some of us can attest that they do not understand how they ended up doing something that was against their will and regretted later. These influences are from the devils or evil spirits. If there was no severe punishment for Satan, why would he and his servants want to derail people from the righteous path? He cannot go alone to hell, hence he will stop at nothing to victimize man. What tactics does Satan use? He uses scare tactics to frighten people. He steals money and valuable items in the household to cause chaos. He uses alcohol and drugs to lure people into depression and mental illnesses. He uses fashion as a tool to victimize women into sexual dolls and subsequently men into sex zombies.